Back in 2017, my father was in the hospital with pancreatic cancer. The day before he passed, he was in the making him as comfortable as possible stage. Thinking of his pain, I asked if they would be turning up the morphine for him, and they said they would. He passed away peacefully the next morning. Several times after his passing, my bonus mom, Jean, would say, "I'm so glad you told the hospital to increase his morphine so he would pass quickly." That wasn't what I meant. I was thinking they would give him more because he was in pain, not to overdose him so he could pass away. Just the thought that I may have been misunderstood and caused him to leave sooner made me sick with guilt. About 2 years later, I'm driving home from work and I'm thinking about what Jean had said. It made me tear up and cry a little again with guilt. The next day, our eldest daughter called to tell me about her dream. She's very gifted and has had many experiences with family members who have passed away in her dreams that were validated. She said, "Grandpa Bob came to see me last night in my dreams. He said to tell you everything is all right. He's happy and you didn't do anything wrong." I never mentioned to her about what Jean had said or how I was feeling the day prior. It had to be from my dad, and it really gave me comfort to hear that. That was by Roberta Real. Well, Roberta, I am sorry that you had to go through that kind of guilt and pain. I understand exactly what you were saying. And let me tell you, from a nurse's perspective, when you up a morphine dose, it suppresses the breathing. Okay. The breathing is more shallow and more shallow. So you didn't overdose him, but that is a side effect of morphine for those of you who didn't know. That's something that I always try to explain to families so they know that when the morphine gets upped, that there is a good chance that they will go ahead and pass. But that being said, that was a wonderful gift for her to be able to tell you that he came to her in a dream and said, "Hey, it's good. We're good. I'm happy and you didn't do anything wrong." Yeah, I'm sure he was glad to be out of the pain. And I am really, really glad that you are not carrying that guilt around anymore. Well, hello, my spooky friends. Scully is feeling all red today. Yeah, he's got it going on. He likes the vibe, I guess. Give him some suggestions of some things he might need to do next. All right, that was a letter that was sent to me, and I'm going to be reading a few more of your letters. Now, this one comes from Jamie Mickelson. I think it's Mickelson. "When I was a child, I had very bad anxiety. It was so bad that it would manifest in my dreams, or I hope that's all it was. When I went to bed on some nights, I would get this spinning feeling, and I knew it meant that I was going to be seeing the scary dwarf man in my dreams. He was always dressed like a man from the 1800s, top hat and all. He would chase me from the lobby of a building all the way to the roof. I would be in an elevator, and on each floor as it opened, he would be there grinning at me. Finally, at the roof, it would open and I would run out. I would get to the edge and he would shove me over. As I fell, he would laugh, and as I hit the ground, I would wake up, terrified. This dream persisted until I was 15 and was baptized. But I was baptized at birth, so I'm not really sure why that had any bearings on my phantom dream, but I'm just very glad it did." Yes, I'm really here. This is, once again, Sachi saying hello. Jamie, that dream is absolutely terrifying. I cannot imagine a dwarf man, and it's bad enough. I think it's very interesting that you would have a spinning feeling and that you would know. I kind of think it was some kind of spirit attached to you or the place that you were, maybe. I don't know if it went on for years, if you were in the same place or different ones, but that is absolutely horrifying. knowing that you were going to see this thing. And the whole nature of the dream is, the elevator door is opening and there he is, like, oh, yeah, Saji. Then being shoved from off the roof. Oh, wow. Jeez. I can't imagine. It makes me wonder if any of you have had that kind of thing, a recurrent scary dream like that. Because I would like to know. Maybe you could share with Jamie what you think it was. I'm just glad it's over, Jamie. Thank you for sharing that story. Now, this is a continuation of the story by Nancy Votto. Now, if you'll remember, she was the author of the Dino the Dinosaur story. This is the next experience I can remember. I find it easier to keep them in chronological order. I was in the first or second grade, at home for lunch, as we walked to and from school since it was close, and studying for a spelling test we were to have upon returning that afternoon. I was memorizing the word mayonnaise because children would be rewarded for spelling words other than what was on the list. As I had told you previously, I lived in a row home. As I sat eating my sandwich alone at the kitchen table, I got hit in the back of my head by a small stone. My grandmother and mother were elsewhere doing housework. I picked up the stone again from the floor and realized it had come from the collection of colorful stones and shells the family collected on our yearly trip to Wildwood, New Jersey. I put the stone back and returned to lunch and the jar of mayo. When it happened again, I remember getting mad and saying, "Knock it off." Nothing more happened. Needless to say, I aced my spelling test and even won a box of crayons for spelling mayonnaise as my extra word. Yes, that is a little terrifying. Stones being thrown at you while you're sitting at the kitchen table. Like, that's just not acceptable. The first one I can see maybe, hey, just to get your attention because there's nobody home and the ghost is lonely. I don't. The second time, that borders on harassment, and these ghosts need to get it together. I mean, there should be a law. Like, what? Can you just run all willy nilly in the afterlife with no consequences? Because I don't think that's okay. Don't be hitting people in the head with stones. All right. I can't wait to hear more of your stories. I know this was your haunted house when you were growing up, and I am here for it. And so are the rest of the people. Scully, he loves it. So keep sending them in. Thank you, Nancy Votto. Now, this next story was sent in with a request not to put her name on it. She said, "This dream bothers me to this day." So I was about 6 or 7, and at the time still remember this well. I was in my bedroom and standing by my bed, and it was dark, like no lights were on, but I could see shadows. Across my room is a hallway, and on the other side was my sister's room. But in my dream, it was a hospital room, and I could see in and knew what it was. It was dark. I could hardly see, but I knew that my grandmother was in the bed. Suddenly, I saw a dark shadow walk in the room next to her. I was so scared, but I couldn't see what was happening, and I couldn't move. The dark shadow was moving around her, but I could tell something was not right. A really bad feeling. It woke me up, and I was so scared I couldn't go back to sleep. The next morning, my mom got a phone call from her brother and said that he went to visit their mom in the hospital, which is my grandmother, and when he got there, she was complaining about a bad pain in her left arm. My grandmother had had a stroke and was in the hospital and was paralyzed on her left side. So my uncle went around and moved the blanket to see what was wrong. There was blood on the bed and a needle in her arm where the nurse had apparently taken blood and left the needle in her arm. I never told my mom about the dream because it scared me so bad. I didn't want to tell her, but when I heard what had happened, I was freaked out. Never told my mom about the dream and always felt bad about not telling her. I am now 56 years old and I still can't forget this dream. It will always be with me. Well, I'll tell you what I think happened. There are many different theories on, how we're all one consciousness. And I don't really mean to get metaphysical here. I don't mean that, but like we know stuff. We know things. We have the ability to know things, and especially when we're asleep. And I think that you were very aware of what was happening to your grandmother at that moment. And though it probably wasn't malicious intent, it was either just the nurse didn't realize what she had done, although I find that hard to believe, or she was lazy and didn't fix it. I don't know. I don't know what the deal was, but I think that's why you knew, because your spirit knew even when you were asleep. And I can see where that's haunting, but it's good to know sometimes that we are in communication with those people that we love, even when we're not aware of it. I think it was more of a sign to let you know that you are able to see things and understand situations that other people can't. And that, my sweet dear, is a gift. Don't be afraid of it, okay? Just know that it's not woo woo, you know? It's not anything like that. It's just that we are aware. Our spirits know what is going on a lot of times when our consciousness doesn't. So, actually, I think that is a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing it. Okay, I am going to. Sachi is just not letting up. Like, she's not letting me do this. So, I'm going to let you go for now. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, weekend, whenever you're watching this. And we are going to try to settle down and get some rest. I'll see you next time. But whatever you do, say it. Say it, Sachi. Stay spooky. Bye bye.